Welcome to NonStopFantasy Podcast. I'm Jack.
I'm Zack.
I'm Oscar.
And we're here to help you with your fantasy team for the rest of the season. We're going to start with a couple of different topics. We'll have start 'em, bench 'em, trade for, and to finish it up, we'll have waiver pickups. But before we start, we're going to just tell you a little bit about us and our fantasy teams that we have this year. We're all in the same league, and we're all doing sort of decent this year. I'm 2-4, and I know Oscar is, and Zack, you're
3-3.
So it's not looking good for some of us, but hopefully we could turn it around. So my starting lineup is unfortunately Patrick Mahomes, who just went down with an injury, which is pretty bad. Marlon Mack, Tevin Coleman, Kenny Golladay, DJ Chark, who I just traded for, and I gave away Derrick Henry, George Kittle, Saquon Barkley, the 49ers defense, and Josh Lambo.
And my starting lineup is Matt Ryan, David Johnson, Josh Jacobs this week because Nick Chubb is on a bye, Julian Edelman, Amari Cooper, Jason Witten, Cortland Sutton, the Bears defense, and Greg Zerloin.
And my starting lineup is Kyler Murray, Kerryon Johnson, Carlos Hyde because Kareem Hunt is still suspended, Tyreek Hill, Robert Woods, Darren Fells, Larry Fitzgerald, Texans defense, and Matt Breida.
We'll be updating you each week if we make any specific changes or pickups that will drastically affect. So right now we're gonna start with our start 'em, bench 'em. We'll give you 3 people and just a little bit of rundown on why we think we should start or bench them, and we'll kind of bounce back off each other. So Zack, do you want to start with your starts?
Yeah, I'll start. So for the first start that I have is Kyler Murray at New York Giants. The Giants last week were the team that had let up the most amount of fantasy points per week. And so I think that it's a great idea to play him because he's going to go off on them because their defense is low-key terrible.
Unfortunately, I'm playing against Kyler Murray this week. That's who Oscar has. And I really think that he's going to have a pretty decent week because the Giants' defense is just horrible. So who's after that?
All right, Julian Edelman, who I have on my team. Sorry to say, I am a Jets fan, and he is playing the Jets on Monday night. The Jets' secondary is just not it. Jamal Adams is good, but he doesn't drop back into coverage that often. He really is just a blitzing safety, and he is very good, but he doesn't go into coverage. Marcus May is decent, but he can't guard every receiver. And then lastly...
I agree with Zack here, especially because Josh Gordon is out this week. So the next receiver after him is Philip Dorsett. So Julian Edelman, with Tom Brady throwing to him, literally anything is possible. And your last one?
Cooper Kupp at Atlanta. Atlanta's 1-5. Their defense is horrendous. They score 40 points a game, and they don't win. Matt Ryan has been throwing dots. They're playing amazingly on offense, but their defense is just terrible. So, obviously, play Cooper Kupp.
All right, I'll go with my startums. So, for my first start, I have Michael Gallup against the Eagles. So, Amari Cooper is questionable, but Michael Gallup came back from injury, and he's been going off with a lot of touchdowns and a lot of yards. And I don't think he's going to be double coverage because the Eagles' secondary isn't that good, and they may not think that he's that good. So, I think that he is a definite start. Another start, Josh Allen against Miami. Miami is literally the worst team I've seen since the Cleveland Browns, and I think they're worse. I'm just going to say that. Their defense is horrendous, and Josh Allen can throw and run and do that very well. And I think the offense is going to be good. Do you guys like that?
Yeah, and before I traded for Matt Ryan from Oscar, I had Josh Allen, and he was playing really well. So I think Josh Allen's going to be a perfect start for this week. He can run, he can throw. He's got Cole Beasley, so they have a pretty good offense this week against Miami.
My final start is Tevin Coleman. I played Tevin Coleman last week after he came back from injury, and he actually did very well. 14 points. Even though he's sort of splitting minutes with Breida, I still think he is their number one back over there. And they're playing Washington. Washington's defense, their actual defensive line is horrible, and I think, and right now since the 49ers are undefeated, Tevin Coleman can only go up from here. Oscar?
Definitely.
Okay, so my first start is Golden Tate against the Cardinals. The Cardinals' defense is just terrible. It's just really bad. They've given up over 20 points every week so far, and they're going against Daniel Jones, who's been throwing much more accurately lately, and Golden Tate's gonna be wide open, and he's probably gonna score one or more touchdowns this week.
And even last week against the Patriots, that was last week, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had 20-plus points. That's against a great Patriots defense.
The number 1 ranked defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, number 1 ranked defense in ESPN Fantasy. So, I think Golden Tate, just coming off suspension, he's just going to keep going up. They don't really have that many great, players that are going to catch the ball. Obviously, they have Saquon, and he's amazing, but they're not going to throw the ball deep to him a lot. And there's Evan Engram, who is still a little bit hurt, so he's still questionable.
I also agree with this pick, also because Sterling Shepard is out with a concussion, makes Golden Tate the official number 1 receiver.
And my next start is Hunter Henry against Tennessee. Tennessee's defense is like the Cardinals, just terrible. And they can't defend because Phillip Rivers, he's always going to look for Hunter Henry if Keenan Allen's locked up, so... And Hunter Henry, even though he's only played in 2 games, he's scored double-digit points, and he scored 30 points last week with 8 receptions and 100 yards.
And 2 touchdowns. He's been rostered up 40.8% in the last week just off those stats, so I definitely think he's a start. It may not be, of course, you shouldn't expect another 30 points from him. He may not do as well, but I expected like a 13, 14-point outing from him.
Well, actually. If the Chargers are playing a good defense, like the Patriots or somebody, they're going to lock Keenan Allen up, and they're going to make sure Austin Eckler and Melvin Gordon can't go anywhere. But so they can always look to Henry, who won't be double covered.
A defense that good can lock down literally any receiver and tight end on a team. Stephon Gilmore can single-handedly take care of Keenan Allen, in my opinion. And their linebackers like Kyle Van Noy. Easy for Hunter. It's hard for Hunter Henry to get open against them.
But we're talking about the number 1 defense in the league.
Exactly. So I don't.
They play anybody else
but I
that
agree
maybe
with you.
isn't the 49ers.
Yeah.
They're going to have
But I
Henry's going to
still
be open.
agree with you. I just don't think he's going to have another 30-point game.
Yeah.
So who's your last start?
Josh Allen. Anyway, just restating what Zach said. I just think that Josh Allen against Miami's defense, it's literally like watching 10-year-olds play football. So
It's not wrong.
No.
So watching Miami play is like watching you going out after school and playing football with your friends and you going for deep passes and dropping all of them. That's Miami's team in a nutshell. So Josh Allen is literally going to run and throw all over Miami and drive their fans out of the building. I'm almost guaranteeing a 20-point or more performance from Josh Allen.
I'm glad we're on the same page, like I said, for the stardoms as well.
All right, I'll start with the next benchums. I have Stephon Diggs on my team, and I played him last week because Devontae Adams, who I just traded away, and Christian Kirk were both hurt. I just traded them away. And so I have Stephon Diggs, and Oscar's now mad in the background because I just beat him last week. Stephon Diggs is a bench. He is playing Detroit, his defense is okay. They're not great. They have Darius Slay, but there's also Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen's going to be locked up. He's still going to get open. He's going to get catches. But Diggs is really not as good as it seems from last week. Who did they play? Like the Giants? Or who did they play?
I think the Giants. I don't know.
I'll check.
It doesn't matter. A 40-point game is a 40-point game,
Yeah.
obviously. But you're playing a crappy team, and Diggs, for the first time in, a year, had a great game. He's not going to be able to keep that up.
I actually disagree with you on this. I like Stephon Diggs this week. Just first off, Darius Slay. Who did they play?
Tampa Bay.
Oh, they played Tampa. Oh, yeah, that still makes sense.
Wait, no, they didn't. What was last week?
Week
6.
They played the Patriots. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, the Giants play the Patriots.
All right, it's fine.
Oscar's
Whatever.
dumb. Let's just put it that way.
All right, I actually disagree with Zach here just because Darius Slay is going to cover Adam Thielen most of the time because, to be honest, Adam Thielen is now the number 1 receiver on Minnesota.
They played the Philadelphia Eagles,
Yeah.
whose defense is awful.
Yeah. So, as I was saying, I think Stephon Diggs, of course, I don't think he's going to get a 40-point outing like he did last time, but I expect maybe I think, again, I'm going to say a safe bet of 13 or 14 points or higher just because I think he's going to get more open when there's not one of the top 10 cornerbacks in the league and Darius Slay on him, personally.
So for my second bench, Jason Witten. Again, I have to play him because Chris Herndon is hurt, but he's playing Philadelphia, and Witten is just not good. I'm going to be honest. I think he's a great guy. He was a good announcer, but he's just not that good anymore. He's old, he's slow, and he gets tackled.
Very old.
Very old.
Yeah, he had an okay
almost
week.
40.
He had a pretty okay week against the Jets last week with 10 points. But before that, 5, 7, 8. That's okay. In the first 2 weeks, he played the Giants and Washington, 2 terrible teams. So I don't see him doing well against the Eagles this week.
I agree with that. I don't think that Jason Witten is any close to how he was when he played before he retired.
With Tony Romo.
Yeah, exactly. He's just slow. He might catch a couple of short passes, but nothing crazy and nothing to... If you're debating between 2 tight ends, one of them Jason Witten, I'd probably play the other one.
Unless the other one is like O.J. Howard, who's having a
Oh,
terrible
God.
year.
Don't get me started.
All right, and the last one is Robbie Anderson. I am a Jets fan, and Anderson is very fast. But again, Stephon Gilmore. That's over. It's over. He's locked up. There's no way he's getting another 92-yard touchdown against New England. Again, New England, number 1 defense in the league right now. Like, surprisingly, because their defense is never amazing, usually good, but they're insane, and Robbie Anderson is done this week. Maybe a couple catches, but I'd be looking for Jamison Crowder.
Sam Darnold, also adding on to that, Sam Darnold coming back last week playing the Cowboys. The Cowboys' defense is mediocre at best. So, like, Robbie Anderson was able to get open because they don't have extremely fast corners, and that's how he got that 92-yard touchdown. But this week they have Stephon Gilmore, who is literally the best corner in
Yeah, I mean, Darrell
past 3
Revis will
years.
tell you. An amazing Jets player, and he played for the Patriots too. But he'll tell you, Stephon Gilmore is the best lockdown corner in the game right now.
I mean, number 1 defense ranked in fantasy football. I totally agree. All
They're
right.
like number 14 on most fantasy points this year.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, my bench homes, I'm going to start with Allen Robinson against the Saints. So, I am a Saints fan. My mom's from New Orleans. And Marshawn Lattimore is a great cornerback. Each and every week, he is locked down the number 1 receiver on the team. DJ Chark, people can agree, came out of nowhere this year. Like, don't you agree? Like, came out of nowhere this year and played out of his mind, except for 1 week, which was against the Saints. Because Marshawn Lattimore literally locked him down any way he could. Like, if you look at this, 24, 18, 17, and 36 against teams that he's played against. And then against New Orleans, he had 7 points. He had 7 points against New Orleans because Marshawn Lattimore locked him down. And I think he's going to do the same thing with Allen Robinson.
I agree. I definitely agree with that.
My second sit is Marquise Brown. So I traded Juju Smith-Schuster and a bunch of players to get Patrick Mahomes. And I thought, you know what, I'll be fine. Marquise Brown has a 30-point game week 1 and like a 16-point game week 2. And I'm like, he's going to be my second receiver and he's going to be okay. But he wasn't. He was just god-awful. I don't know what's going on with the Ravens. They seem to go on a decline. They lost to the Browns. And over there, Mark Andrew is literally catching everything. He's only throwing to them. And then, let's be honest, the Ravens are a running offense. They run the ball,
Yeah,
and they are
Mark
successful.
Ingram and Lamar Jackson. That's so dangerous. Mark Ingram was like
Baltimore's whole offense, and they would still win.
Totally agree. Marquise Brown, again, may catch a couple, but I think people that are listening right now could agree with me. He is 100% a bench person. And my final bench is, I'm sorry, Zach, Sam Darnold. Look, he came back last week against the Cowboys and had an amazing week, but he's just not going to do that again against the number 1 defense in the New England Patriots. Literally, I think
He's going to get destroyed.
maybe 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He is 100% a bench person this week.
Another thing is, and I am a Jets fan, the offensive line is awful. Kelsey Osemele is hurt. Ryan Khalil is hurt. I mean, I know Kelsey Osemele's backup, who has been playing very, very well, and the Jets only let up 2 sacks last week, but that was because they're fired up about Sam coming back. But with this Patriots defense, Sam is going to have about a second and a half to get the ball off, so it's looking like it might just hand it off to Le'Veon Bell, and there's nothing going to happen
It's
for
going
that
to look like
offense.
the Chiefs this past Thursday playing the Broncos, where they got 9 sacks on Joe Flacco.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so with my benchums, it's first Daniel Jones. I know this is going to be up for discussion, but Daniel Jones has not lived up to the hype when he first got his first official start.
Now, I don't know if it's hype, but keep going. I don't know if it's hype.
I'm talking about his height from when he played Tampa Bay and got 34 points.
It's Tampa Bay. Their defense is okay. Not great.
Their defense is okay, but he played Washington, which is one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and got 12 points. And when he played a good defense like Minnesota, and when he played a good defense like New England, he didn't get over 15 points. So if you're looking as Daniel Jones as someone to rely on to get 15 points this week, to start, I would not do that. I know Arizona's defense is okay, but their number one receiver is gonna be locked up by Patrick Peterson.
I disagree with this, and you'll hear why when we go on to one of our next topics.
And another thing, Daniel Jones, he's only really gonna have to throw to Evan Engram, and Evan Engram doesn't.
But with Saquon back, they have those short passes. So I kind of disagree. I don't think he's going to get 20 points. I think he's going to get maybe 15. I think 15 is a good estimate for Daniel Jones this week. Not amazing. If you have a better quarterback, if you have Matt Ryan playing the Rams, I'd still play Matt Ryan, even though they're playing a great Rams defense with Jalen Ramsey now. I think that I'd still play a different quarterback over Daniel Jones.
Yeah. So, do you disagree with that?
I'll talk about that later.
Okay, so my second bench is, and I know one of you is going to disagree with this, Carson Wentz. I think Carson Wentz, even though he's a good, accurate throwing quarterback, I just think going up against Dallas, Alshon Jeffrey hasn't been great, and Nelson Aguilar has just not been what they needed him to be for the Eagles. So
I know that one of the people in our fantasy league would definitely disagree with that, but I can. Who are they playing this week again?
Dallas.
Playing Dallas.
I can see how you think that he might not do as well.
He's gonna throw a lot of passes to Zach Ertz. So
I'm gonna be honest.
Ertz, play him, obviously.
I'm going to be honest. The Dallas defense, they got torn up by the Jets. The Jets, for God's sakes. They have Le'Veon Bell, and that's about it. Sam is good, but there's no great receivers. Right. I disagree with this. I think Carson Wentz might tear them up. He's going to throw dots all over them.
That game's going to be a very offensive game. So whichever team has a better offense is going to win that game.
Look, I think that Carson Wentz isn't going to do as bad as you think he is. I don't know if he's going to do amazing, 30 points. I still think the Cowboys' defense is very good. And he might throw one or two interceptions because he might get too cocky with the ball and because it's just going to be all offense and no defense.
Well, that's what happened with the Jets last week. Sam Darnold, they started just putting the ball in. He was hitting every pass. Eventually made one mistake, picked off. But, again, with Carson Wentz, I like the Dallas linebackers. I think they're awesome. You have Leighton Vander Esch back there. They're great, but the secondary is just not that good.
And my last benchum is Austin Eckler. So this week, even though he's playing Tennessee, with Melvin Gordon back, he's not getting as many touches. And he's more of a receiving back than Melvin Gordon because Melvin Gordon's extremely fast.
And strong.
So we can break a lot of tackles. So Austin Eckler against Tennessee, I would guess 12, 13 points. He's had a very solid season so far with Melvin Gordon back. But with Melvin Gordon out, excuse me. But last week against the Steelers, only 5 points. So I wouldn't rely on him to get you a lot of points if you need to play him. But if you have someone to replace Eckler with, I would definitely replace him.
I think Eckler is a flex this year. Is a flex this week, borderline flex. I think that they're gonna get stopped on third down a lot because let's be honest, the Chargers' offense isn't amazing, but it's just kind of I don't know. It's a hit or miss in my opinion.
It's been a miss this year.
Okay.
So now we're gonna head on to our trade for.
Okay.
And we only have one trade for each person. So, yeah. Oscar, you can start.
Okay, I'm going to start with Dalvin Cook. Even though Dalvin Cook is rostered in about everybody's league, because if you don't roster him, you're stupid. So, Dalvin Cook has been a monster. Yes, Minnesota has Stephon Diggs and, what's his name, Adam Thielen. So, Dalvin Cook if they play a good pass defense like the Patriots, they're going to want to run the ball, and Dalvin Cook can break a lot of tackles, and he's very fast. So I would trade for Dalvin Cook sooner rather than later so you can get a very solid running back on your team.
I'm going to start with my trade for and Kerryon Johnson.
I agree.
I love this guy.
I have him.
Oscar has him. I don't know what it is, but it seems like the Detroit Lions find a way to get down to the 1 yard line in every single game possible. And what are you going to do? You're going to throw it? No, you're going to run it with your strong...
You're not going to be the Seahawks.
Yeah, the strong running back in Kerryon Johnson. Okay? He's 100% a trade for me.
Again, for me, DJ Chark. I don't know if you'll be able to get him because
I did. I got him.
Yeah, Jack got him. He gave our friend Joe a good deal and got him. But if you have enough good players to get him, definitely go for him. Again, he had 18 every game. He had a couple 30-pointers. The only bad game was against Marshawn Lattimore. And coming up, he's not going to play somebody that's as good as Marshawn Lattimore unless they play the Patriots. So DJ Chark is definitely a guy that you're going to want on your team.
All right. I agree with everyone. To finish off, we're going to go with waiver pickups. At once, we'll say our 2 waiver pickups at a time, and Oscar will start.
Okay, my first waiver pickup is Frank Gore. He is playing Miami. That's enough said. He's playing Miami. Miami is the epitome of bad. Any high school team in America can beat them. They are just the worst team I've ever seen in my entire life.
We play on ESPN, so I looked at the availability for my 2 waiver wire pickups and Frank Gore. Frank Gore has a 30% availability, so it's not super high, but it's definitely possible that in your league he is available.
I definitely think Frank Gore is a great waiver wire pickup. He is the number 1 running back over there, even though Devin Singletary is still there.
Okay, my next one is Jimmy Garoppolo, who is the quarterback for the 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo has been 5-0 with the 49ers so far, and they have just been amazing with everybody. And they're playing Washington, which is one of the worst defenses in the NFL, so you should definitely pick him up. He'll definitely have 1 or 2 touchdowns thrown and a lot of yards thrown.
Yeah, and he has over 60% availability in ESPN.
I sort of disagree with this pickup. Look, they're 5-0, but in my opinion,
it's because of their defense.
Their defense is incredible, and he's just thrown to George Kittle and ran the ball. If you hear his stat line, he's only had 1 game above 20 points, and it was against Cincinnati. Again, one of the worst teams. 10, 22, 9, 14, and 12. I agree with Oscar that you should pick him up for this week.
And this week only.
This week only. Because Washington defense is terrible, and I think he's going to be throwing it a lot, and I better hope he throws to George Kittle, because I definitely need it. So,
and I have one more that I just added on, but I think it's important. Mike Williams on the Chargers. So this is why. Mike Williams whenever Keenan Allen is against a very good defense and is getting locked up, Mike Williams has been Phillip Rivers' go-to guy for any pass he needs. Downfield, short pass. He's extremely fast, and he can pretty much catch the ball anywhere you need him to on the field. So
I'm going to disagree with this. I totally disagree with this.
Of course you do. Why?
He's only averaging 9.9 points, and he only has an 18% availability. You might not get him. It's unlikely, and he's not playing that well. So I totally disagree with this.
Because he's on the same team as Keenan Allen.
That doesn't matter.
I'm in the middle. It's the pure hit or miss.
If you need a wide receiver desperately, I would definitely pick up Mike Williams.
right.
Yeah, I agree with that. But if you want him to be a wide receiver 2 or a 1, no.
No.
Trade for 1.
All right.
Don't pick him up.
Here are my 2 waiver pickups. Now, it's a coincidence, but I have both players on the Giants. My first is Darius Slayton. You're probably wondering who the heck that even is. But right now, I think that Daniel Jones and Darius Slayton have a connection that we haven't seen in a while between 2 Giants players. I don't know what's going on, but right now, in this game, he is the number 2 wide receiver just because of Sterling Shepard. He caught a touchdown against the Patriots. I think that he's a great. I don't think play him, But I think he's a good pickup, and definitely against Arizona's defense.
I think he can be a good player against Arizona this week, averaging 9.2, which, is close to Mike Williams, but the thing that Mike Williams doesn't have is the availability. Darius Slayton has an 87% availability rate. He is 87% available in ESPN leagues. You got to get him if he's playing Arizona this week. You got to pick him up.
You have to pick him up before Sterling Shepard comes back.
Yeah.
And to add on what you said, Daniel Jones and Darius Slayton, they have this connection where he can be open anywhere because the defenses aren't looking for him to make big plays.
They're looking for like Golden Tate or looking for Saquon to make sure he's not doing what Saquon Barkley does.
They're going to put their best corner on Golden Tate or Sterling Shepard, depending on who's injured and who's not. So then Daniel Jones is going to look for Darius Slayton so that he can get a reliable target for an easy pass at 8 and 9 yards. I would not pick him up as a guy to rely on for the rest of the year. I would pick him up this week and then have him on your bench as someone to play if you need him.
Yeah. My other guy, I said I'd bring him up back later. It's Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones for this week against Arizona is a great pickup and a possible starter. Arizona's defense is in the bottom tier of the league right now. Patrick Peterson is not playing how he used to be. Terrell Suggs is an old veteran. I think that the Giants are going to beat Arizona this week. Personally, I could be totally wrong about this, but I have a gut feeling that Daniel Jones is going to outplay Kyler Murray. And I think that he's going to throw a couple touchdown passes in as well. And I know Oscar doesn't like about this because he has Kyler Murray playing. But in my opinion, I think that that's going to happen.
This is, again, going to be another offensive game. Even though both offenses are just
it's more the fact
that they're not terrible.
It's more the fact that their defense.
Arizona's offense is just better. Okay, on to Zach.
But just for Daniel Jones, averaging 12.3, and he's available in 60% leagues. That's it. He could be a good pickup for this week. And then for my two, first I have Latavius Murray at Chicago. Here's the thing. Kamara's out. They're good running, and they like to throw it to Kamara. So if he's not in, who are they going to give it to? They're going to give it to Murray.
All right, so I think I 100% disagree with this pick.
I 200% disagree with this.
Look, Alvin Kamara is a special talent.
He is like... You do not see Alvin Kamara, who's the size of a wide receiver, playing running back and is good at it. The Bears' defense is arguably the best defense in the NFL, if not top 3.
I think they're top 5 this...
Top 5? But just let me finish, Charlie.
Okay.
So... Latavius Murray is not a running back who's going to go out and catch passes like Kamara does. And the Bears' defense, they're good at playing defense. It's not like the Saints are playing freaking Miami. And Teddy Bridgewater has been really on a good connection with Michael Thomas lately. Michael Thomas scored 40 points in one of his most recent fantasy games. So Teddy Bridgewater and Michael Thomas and the rest of the receivers have a very good connection going, and they're not going to rely on their run game with Latavius Murray and Alvin Kamara being out. Go.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Latavius Murray, I had him last year. I remember him because Dalvin Cook was out. Latavius Murray is not a talent to compare to Alvin Kamara. And Alvin Kamara is a pouch catcher. Latavius Murray is a grit and grind, pound for pound running back. A poor man's Mark Ingram from last year. I disagree with this pick entirely.
Fair enough. You guys clearly don't agree.
That made me mad.
So then second, I have Mohamed Sanu versus the Rams. He has a 50% availability in the ESPN leagues. But I think this is going to be a good pickup this week because they don't have Marcus Peters anymore. They just traded him away for a linebacker. Jalen Ramsey, it's Julio, obviously.
Oh yeah. And then Mohamed
Sanu. And they have Calvin Ridley. Ramsey's not going to be guarding Sanu. He's going to get points with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's being very good this year.
Yes, but one thing you have to look out for is they also have... Atlanta's running game is not bad. What's the running back's name? Devontae Freeman?
Yeah.
Freeman.
Devontae Freeman has been running the ball and been doing it well lately. So they're not gonna look for a pass every single play. They might look to Sanu not as many times as you think they will, because if they have Devontae Freeman open for an underneath pass, they'll probably take that over looking at Sanu.
I agree with this pick. I played Mohamed Sanu last week. It didn't end up in my favor, but I still won the game overall. But Mohamed Sanu, out of nowhere, he has the most receptions, the most targets and receptions of the Atlanta Falcons. He is their slot receiver, and he's going to have some sort of linebacker or underskilled cornerback covering him.
Or safety.
Yeah, getting him open. I think that's a great pickup.
I agree with the pick. It's just I wouldn't rely on him to get you 25 points.
No, I wouldn't either. I'm saying a good 15, though.
I'm saying a good 15.
All right. Is that we covered everything up?
I think so.
All right. We hope that you enjoyed the first recording fantasy podcast, and we hope that we can help you with your fantasy team for the rest of the season.